And now your Chrysler TV Caravan takes you to Santa Claus, Indiana.
Even the automobile industry, one of Indiana's manufacturing bedrocks, saw the potential of what Santa Claus land could bring. That was 1955. Fast forward to now. The rush and thrill of riding amusement park rides started right here in Indiana.
We keep our park as neat as a pin. We have exciting world-class rides like the new Voyage, free unlimited soft drinks, and the new Bahari River ride at Splashin Safari.
Holiday World and Splashin Safari, the first theme park in the United States, one that is family-inspired. We get insight on what it takes to remain relevant and successful from the fourth-generation owners, sisters Leah Koch-Blumhardt and Lauren Koch-Crosby, on this edition of the Business and Beyond podcast presented by PNC. And I am pleased to be joined on the podcast this week by two very busy ladies, a fourth generation owners and operators at Holiday World and Splashin Safari, Leah Koch-Blumhardt and also Lauren Koch-Crosby joining us now. And ladies, how are you?
We're doing great. Thank you for having us.
Good. Yeah, I know we're right in the heart of your busy season. It's great to have you on. And what a success story Holiday World has grown into over the years. I mentioned you both are fourth generation in the family business. And I read somewhere where growing up, you just kind of looked at the park as an extension of your backyard. Is that right?
Yeah, afternoons were spent at the park. Growing up, it was just a place we always went to go eat or hang out. So it's just been part of our DNA since the beginning.
And we knew to stay in line because we had a bunch of people around that knew exactly who we were, who would tell on us if we did anything wrong.
That's good. Give us a thumbnail of Holiday World, because when you think of the big mega parks, the Disneys, the Six Flags, whatever the place might be, Holiday World and Splashin Safari is not that size, but certainly, at least from my standpoint, you seem to really punch above your weight in terms of what you do, how you do it, the creative things you do to get people down there. Give us the description. We'll talk about how things started many years ago, but at where Holiday World and Splashin Safari is now in terms of size and attendance and those kinds of things.
Yeah, so Holiday World and Splashin Safari, we're a combo theme park and water park, and we're proud to say that Splashin Safari Water Park is ranked consistently in at least the top 5, if not the top water park in the nation and the world. And really, I think we have a very creative team. We have about 1 million guests a year, give or take, each year. But to get people out to the middle of a cornfield in Santa Claus, Indiana, takes a lot of effort. So we put a lot of creativity into everything we do. We can talk about projects like Good Gravy, where we themed a coaster to Gravy Boat. We have a lot of fun doing some of these projects as well. But
I think what really sets us apart, though, from all those other parks is the fact that we offer free parking, free Wi-Fi, free sunscreen, and, of course, free unlimited soft drinks.
Yeah.
And you're coming up on a big anniversary, right? 25 years, free soft drinks, which at the time, I think still today, it's very creative. But 25 years ago, that was certainly, I would think, unheard of.
Yeah, our dad started it back in the year 2000, and everyone told him he was crazy. And
literally they did.
Yep. Including the people on his own team, but he went through with it, and it really put us on the map. And to this day, I'll go places all across the country and say, "Oh, I work at this park called Holiday World," and they'll go, "That's the free soft drink place, isn't it?" So it works very well for us, and it helps us, like you said, punch above our weight.
Yeah, and you talk about attracting people to the middle of the country in southern Indiana. The other thing that I've always been amazed at is how you select rides and promote them and really create excitement and buzz around it. You mentioned being the number 1 ranked water park. The roller coasters that you have there are really noteworthy. Talk about that process, how that works. It can't be an inexpensive thing to do. What's the process of selecting some of these rides?
It's definitely a multi-year process to pick a ride. And I think what sets us apart from other parks is that we're really involved in the ride development process. Some people may know that our dad, Will Cook, actually was credited as one of the designers on the Voyage roller coaster, which to this day is still ranked the number 2 wooden coaster in the world.
Wow.
We're not betting that we're not number 1, but he was especially involved. But we go through so many iterations, and we really care about making that ride the best version it can be. And I think we challenge our ride designers, and they like that. I hope that we push them hard on, is this the most thrilling layout you've done like this? What could you do to make it even more exciting? And when we ask good questions like that, they come back with excellent answers.
Pretty much with the ride selection process, we really look at what is being offered in our park and how are we catering to them the best. And it's been really great for me in the past several years, becoming a mom and raising my children. I'm really getting to see the park through a different set of eyes than what we've been looking at it. And so I've been able to help guide us as well and put in my 2 cents.
As you can see with rides like Good Gravy, it's helped us also gear our rides more towards families. That's a big trend that's happening in the industry overall. But Good Gravy has a minimum height requirement of 38 inches when accompanied by an adult, which means that some almost like 3-year-olds, some 3-year-olds can ride, which is amazing. Grown adults can ride as well. And it's a very comfortable ride for everybody.
Talk about Good Gravy. That's an interesting name. Talk about the process and start to finish, the 60,000-foot view of how that came about.
I think it started as a joke.
It did. I think it was honestly, right after we put in Thunderbird, we had picked that location and knew that we wanted to put something there. And the running joke for years was that we were going to put in a gravy themed something, and it never went away. So whenever we finally picked the ride and it came time to theme it and name it, we're like,
it's got to be a
gravy show.
So we spent a lot of time working on developing a story, though. We didn't want it to just be a gravy boat on a coaster train. So if you go through the station, it's not just your average coaster station at Holiday World. We really stepped up the game. So you walk through Grandma's house on Thanksgiving Day, and there's a living portrait of Grandma that greets you and reminds you that smoking hasn't been allowed in her house since the And as you go through the kids' room, the bathroom, the kitchen, the dining room, and as you get towards the end of the line, we find out that Grandpa's favorite, the Good Gravy, is running out. And you have to get on board the ride to help make more gravy for Thanksgiving.
That's good. I like it. What you talk about the history, there's such history there at the park, and folks who are old enough like myself to remember it was Santa Claus land, right?
Mm-hmm. So we started in 1946. Our great grandfather, Louis J. Cook, opened this as a roadside attraction, as a retirement project, really. He had a great success with his brothers with the tin shop in Evansville. And they had even greater success during World War II when toys couldn't be imported. They started creating tin horns for children's Christmas gifts. And he came out to Santa Claus, Indiana, and you couldn't find a place that was very magical or Christmassy where you could meet Santa. He wanted to create that place. He created a children's toy shop, soda fountain, and a couple of little trains just for kids. And the park has grown immensely since.
Yeah. When was the transformation, I guess, to Holiday World? When, like officially? Because I would always kind of use them interchangeably, Santa Claus Land, Holiday World. When was from a marketing standpoint, did that switch happen?
That was 1984, and I have to credit my grandfather was really smart about it. He knew he wanted to make that change. And so starting in the late 70s, he started calling it Santa Claus Land. It's a holiday world of fun. So everywhere you saw an advertisement, he put a holiday world of fun. Mm-hmm. And the time they made the switch in 1984, they added Frightful Falls and switched some rides over to Halloween theme and changed other rides to the 4th of July theme. And suddenly we were Holiday World.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, I think you mentioned you get about 1 million customers on an annual. That's a huge number, especially again in rural Indiana, in an area where there's not a lot of development. The impact that you have on southern Indiana is substantial. Talk about that.
Yeah, so we're pulling people. We like to say we're close to nothing, but not far from anything. So we're 3 hours away from Indy, Cincinnati, less than 3 hours from Nashville, and 3 hours from St. Louis. And then we've got, of course, Louisville and Evansville are great cities for us as well. And so we're drawing people from a lot of places, but we're actually finding this year that even Chicago has become a more interesting market for us, and even some Huntsville, Alabama.
Really?
Interesting. So we're really starting to draw people. If you look at a map of where people are coming from, it's just a wide net of Indiana and all of our surrounding states. And of course, we have the world famous coasters that are drawing people from all around the world who want to see this specific lineup of coasters.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what do you think is the biggest attraction? You mentioned things like the free soft drinks and those types of things, but is it the coasters that really get people's attention?
I think it probably depends on the person.
Yeah.
Families, I think it's the value messaging.
Yeah.
We've got the free unlimited soft drinks. You're getting into 2 parks for the same price. But there definitely are a lot of people who are drawn by the coasters. The Voyage is a very big draw for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I think now we've been hearing too that the charm of our family business, the family owned and operated amusement park is a dying breed. And to get one as large as Holiday World and Splashin Safari, I can think of maybe 1 or 2 other parks, family owned and operated, that are the same size of us. So it's definitely a pretty unique find. And to find, I think we hear all the time from people that you can just tell it's family owned by coming through the door, and they're drawn now by good gravy and the charm and creativity that we're producing all the time. They want to come check out what this is all about.
Some family businesses don't necessarily last through multiple generations. Was there ever any doubt that you guys were going to do anything but this?
For me, yes. For a very long portion of my life, I didn't actually want anything to do with Holiday World.
Yeah.
And then our father passing away really made me refocus and decide, no, this is where I'm meant to be. This is where my heart is.
Yeah.
And when our dad passed away, I was already starting to intern in the communications department. So I had a pretty good idea of where I wanted to be going. And I majored in journalism in school. Like I knew I wanted to be where I am right now. And eventually I wanted to be a huge part of what the park is doing. And I always knew I wanted to be here.
Yeah, I was going to ask you the importance of being part of that tradition, that family tradition, and being a big part. How special is that for both of you to really be a part of carrying on that legacy?
It's incredibly special and honestly quite a heavy weight that we carry with us all the time, to think about the previous generations and all of the work that they've done to get us to this point now, and just the work we're doing now to keep it going. And then even as we both are having children, being able to see them enjoying the park and how special it is to them, and making sure that we're taking care of it the best way that we can, so that way we can pass it on to them.
Yeah.
And to say that I feel like as we develop rides, I see more and more the way that our dad developed rides for us as we were growing up. So when we were in the early 90s, he built what was the Raven, which was intended to be a family coaster, but accidentally ended up more intense than we thought it was going to be. And he started with that intended family coaster, and kind of as we got older, the rides and the things got cooler. So like later 90s, he's building our playground area, the Hall Dogs Fun Town, which was just a kid's mecca at the time. Still is, obviously. And he was building Monsoon Lagoon, which was a big play structure area. So it's just cool to see the way that he was building the park for his family. And we get to carry that on by building the park for our family as well.
We'll have much more ahead with Leah Koch-Blumhardt and also Lauren Crosby. Talk about innovation, technology, workforce. How do you attract workers? The business of theme parks, and a lot more when the Business and Beyond podcast returns.
At PNC Bank, we're committed to making a difference in the lives of our customers and communities by helping them move forward financially. As a Main Street bank, we try to do right by our customers with every encounter. Our local teams offer personalized financial advice to help guide you in making the best decision. We're proud to be part of your community. PNC Bank. See how we can make a difference for you at pnc.com. Copyright 2022, the PNC Financial Services Group, Inc., all rights reserved.
We build Indiana. The Laborers International Union of North America builds and maintains roads, bridges, and other essential infrastructure that make us the crossroads of America. So thanks to LIUNA members' work, Hoosiers have a better quality of life, like access to utilities, easier routes to jobs, schools, or medical care, and deliveries keep moving. We build Indiana for good jobs and stronger communities. The Laborers International Union of North America. We are LIUNA. And
welcome back to the Business and Beyond podcast presented by PNC. My guests this week, Lauren Koch-Blumhardt and also Lauren Crosby. They are the fourth generation family leaders, really taking the reins and making things happen at Holiday World and Splashin Safari in southern Indiana, the oldest theme park in the United States, and it continues to be one of the best performing and one of the most popular. And ladies, we touched on a little bit the business, and you mentioned family-owned theme parks are kind of a dying breed, if you will. How would you characterize the theme park business now? Just the dynamics of what's going on. I know I've read articles, the impact on smaller theme parks of tariffs and those types of things affecting you. Give us the landscape, the business landscape for theme parks.
So luckily this year, we have a few very smart people on our team who saw the tariffs coming. And so some of our biggest imports that we do, mostly just souvenirs. And then, of course, we've been upgrading our beach chairs in the water park over the years. So those are the major things that we saw ahead to and went ahead and placed reorders on everything before. And those were all here and on site before January of this year. So we haven't been hit by those too bad yet. But I would say the general landscape of the amusement park industry, it's crazy how much the gap has widened. So we're very excited to build something like Good Gravy where we can put $10 million into this thing and theme it. And it was a small enough attraction that we really had that room to build that budget for theming. But definitely the market is getting wider. You've got parks like Epic Universe opening where they're spending billions per ride, hundreds of millions per ride, yes, and billions on the park. And so it's intense competition to be trying to punch above our weight in the
Not to
area.
mention a number of mid-sized parks are now being merged into bigger corporations. Yeah. And so we've got that to deal with as well.
You've got the Six Flags Cedar Fair merger, which has been, it's interesting to watch. But I think for us, we're really focused on keeping our heads down. We know what we do well. We provide an excellent guest experience. We've got our freebies. We're going to be the best experience that you get.
Yeah, I was going to ask you because there are here in the Midwest a number of big theme parks. No doubt they are competition. Do you really view them as competition per se, or do you really look at what you're doing, creating a niche, if you will, and an experience for the customer that's special and different from those really big mega parks?
I think we view them as friendly competition, if that makes sense. We're such a close-knit industry that we'll see friends go from one park to another. So we can't really hold any animus against any specific park ever because there are people we love at all these parks. And so we share lots of information. But I think like I said, our goal is to keep doing what we do well. And we know that will shine eventually. Some of the other big parks that you think of in Ohio specifically, they're a little more geared towards teenagers. They've got a lot more big coasters. And so we're really targeted towards those younger families. We've got a free pre-K pass as well for kids approximately ages 4 and 5. And then kids 3 and under get in free.
Yes.
And so we're really focused on that market. We want to be the place for families.
Yeah, you want to attract customers, obviously, folks to come to the park. You've got to also attract talent. You employ, and some of it's part-time, but you're a big employer there. Talk about how many people work at the park, how many people you need to make things happen there.
Well, we employ just under 2,000 seasonal employees. Every year we got to bring them all in, and we are literally bringing them all in from everywhere. We have a bus service that runs to bring some of them to work every day. So it's no small task.
And then, of course, a few years ago, we built Compass Commons, which is our employee housing. So we were also...
Yeah, I thought I remembered that. So talk about that, because that's a pretty creative move. And companies all over the country, but here in Indiana, this talent issue is such a big thing. So for Holiday World, I'm sure you have to get creative and think about what you do to get people.
Yeah, we had heard for years from domestic students who wanted to, I live in California, but I really admire Holiday World. I want to work there. How can I do that? And we didn't have an answer for them. And so we built this dorm blindly on the hope that we had enough people that would be interested. The facility we built can hold 136 people. And we have a very robust international program. So these Bridge USA students, they have international programs where they are mostly grad students that come from overseas in different countries. We've had some lawyers in training, some doctors in training as well. And they really want to come over here to work on their English skills and get paid an American wage. But they come over, they want all the hours we can throw at them. And then they have a specific time that they come over and a specific time that they go back and they go back to school. But they've worked out incredibly well. They're great workers, but of course, that's 136 people out of 2,000. So we're still hiring a ton of local people. Our team does a great job. And really the biggest thing that our HR team has done in the last few years is take our retention rate to above 50%, which when you have a bunch of college and high school students is amazing. Yes.
Right. Yeah. You mentioned doing innovative things on the workforce side. How is technology, even it seems like all industries touch artificial intelligence these days. Does that connect with you in your world? New technologies, new ways of doing things, including AI?
I can't say that we are using a lot of AI right now creatively when we're working on new projects or something like that. We'll use it to spark some ideas. But I will say that our maintenance and attractions team has done a great job. They've taken all ride inspections and all ride reports online through an app. And so we've got iPads at every ride location. And so that's been huge for us in just record management and being able to track trends and regular maintenance. So that's a really cool thing that we've done. But we also have a really talented IT team that actually develops software in-house. So there's a lot of stuff that they come up with that helps us track breaks and things like that just other softwares out there can't do. But yeah, we're pretty old school at times.
Yeah, we're constantly on the lookout and we're definitely aware of the things and how they're changing. And as things come, we look at them and evaluate them and decide whether they would be a good fit for us or not. And nothing ever gets put entirely
we don't
take it off the table. It's just maybe not right now.
Yeah.
Like in 2020, we tried a queue-less system just to help with the separation with spacing in the lines. We found out that our guests don't like to have their phones out in the park. We respect that. We got rid of that system pretty quickly after 2020.
Yeah, interesting. A lot of tradition there at Holiday World. And how do you balance the tradition with doing some of these new things and making it relevant today? I think about, on a bigger scale, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, when they went through a big modernization, it was really important. They talk about really important to make it new and modern and cool, but without losing the tradition and the history and the heritage. Do you all deal with that at all when wanting to be modern and current and up to date, but yet keep that small family-owned theme park?
Constantly.
Yes.
And the thing that pops to mind for me right now is that we just installed brand new portals, which are the big signs that indicate that you're entering one section of the park. We just replaced those and they have been there since the old ones were there since the 80s. So it was a big change to update those. And as we were going through the design process, it was a challenge to go back and forth with the designers and decide what elements needed to stay to keep that traditional feeling and that nostalgia there. How do we still modernize it to give it a breath of fresh air?
Well, and I think it makes it hard for us whenever we have to say goodbye to an attraction. So we get hatred all the time from our guests because our Raging Rapids raft ride had to go away a few years ago. And people get mad at us, and that hurt us too. We tried a lot of things to keep that thing going, but just certain rides reach an end of life, and we have to make the responsible decision to say goodbye.
Yeah, along those lines of tradition and modern day amenities, I think you've always focused on family fun. Is family fun today different than it was, I don't know, 20 years ago or 30 years ago? Or is it still the same? Family fun is family fun. Do you find yourselves needing to tweak things to keep people entertained in this era of cell phones and all that kind of stuff?
I find that, so we had some market research done this year, and what we heard loud and clear from our guests was that what they love most about Holiday World is that it's the one place where everybody puts their phones away. And so in many ways, it is stayed the same. It's definitely that connection that people are still looking for. They want to feel close to their family. And this is the one place a year that there's so much fun, there's so much going on that you almost forget to look at your phone. However, I would say that there's still changes that have been made. So we now have some premium tours. So other parks have moved to fast pass systems. We don't do that because we feel like it slows down operations to a point of really disadvantaging guests who don't purchase it. So we feel pretty strongly about that. But we do have some very specific guided tours throughout the day that they're 4-hour tours. You get someone who gives you exit access And those have been growing significantly in popularity over the last few years. And like the cabanas are a premium. So the premium experience market has definitely grown, but we work very hard to make sure that those premium experiences aren't necessary to have a good day.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting marketplace to see, but it's not the heart of what we're doing.
Yeah. Is there one thing you hope that every guest takes away from their visit to Holiday World? Or let me ask you this, has there been any particular feedback you've received from guests over the years that have really stuck with you and really made an impact on something someone has said?
Just the stories and the memories from our guests. That's honestly, I would have to say, like the most important thing for me.
And we're slowly adopting that we want to be everybody's home for the holidays. We just want everybody to feel like they just came home, that this is the place where they can let loose and be themselves and celebrate the holidays.
Yeah. Okay, let's look forward. Where do you see things in the next maybe 5 to 10 years? I know you've got some big things coming up more immediately, as I mentioned earlier, 25th anniversary, free soft drinks. So and I think, was it a weather guarantee, I think, as well. So talk about that, but also where you see the park, where you see Holiday World and Splashin Safari in 5 or 10 years.
There's a lot to unpack there. I'll start with saying one of the things, so I'll start with the worry-free weather guarantee. One of our goals as we build new attractions is to make them a little bit more weatherproof or a little more weather-friendly, just by building some cover at the very least with every attraction that we're doing. So that way standing in line isn't quite as unpleasant as raining. But we do have a worry-free weather guarantee, which is awesome. So if rides are closed for 90 minutes or longer due to severe storms, specifically lightning or high winds, we do still operate rides in the rain, but if we're closed for those reasons, your ticket automatically becomes a ticket to come back anytime during the same season. We just activated it yesterday. The people who were in the park yesterday get to come back, and they get to come back any day in 2025 that we're open to the public. So that's a nice little benefit. But moving forward, you talk about being the storytelling generation?
Oh, sure. So as we move forward, every new project that we take on, Leah and I really have been trying to put a focus on storytelling. We want to tell a story within the attraction, but also broader picture where everything we do, we're always constantly telling the story of Holiday World and how we got to where we are.
So storytelling, I like that. And I lied one more question, and you mentioned the weather guarantee. So that's one of your challenges, certainly, is dealing with the weather and being seasonal kind of business. What else? Is there another big challenge as you think about running the business? The weather's out there. What would be another big challenge that you face?
So something we took a big step on this year is we purchased Santa's Cottages, which is a lakeside resort just a few miles away from us. Lodging is the next big thing on our radar. If you've ever tried to book a trip to visit Holiday World, you'll notice that there aren't a lot of major hotels. There's not a lot of familiar names. Holiday World doesn't have a major hotel in Santa Claus, Indiana. So we do find that people are staying way out in the outskirts, Evansville, Owensboro. We love to see the people staying there, but we would love to have options for people to stay closer. And we've studied other parks that have really invested in lodging, and you see that attendance grow with that. And hopefully we can see our season expand to go with that as well. When you've got people staying overnight, automatically, you want to have a park open for them. And vice versa.
Right.
When it's open, you've got people who want to stay overnight. So there's a good, I hate to use the word synergy there, but they work really nicely.
And
I think, go ahead. Go ahead, Lauren.
The other challenges I know that I think about are just families' time.
Yeah.
During the season, we're competing mostly with families' time. There's camps and sports and activities, and it's when do you fit in that day at Holiday World? And then the other thing that also comes to mind for me is the rising cost of attractions, of implementing new programs and things.
It's not growing, but the cost as well.
That's got to be a big challenge, because I think about that. I think about years ago taking our kids to Disney, for example, and our grandkids now go down there, and I look at the prices, and it's unbelievable. And so that's got to be one that you got to make money, but that price has to be an issue. And then you mentioned time. Back in the day, you didn't have travel sports and soccer and all those different things that occupy time now. So it is a different animal, I guess.
Absolutely.
It has been a real treat catching up with both of you, Leah Koch-Blumhardt and also Lauren Crosby, running Holiday World and Splashin Safari, which is a major attraction for our state, not just Southern Indiana, but statewide, you make a big impact on our state, and really appreciate all the work you do, all the effort that you do to make Holiday World and Splashin Safari a great place. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks for having us.
All right. And thank you for joining us on this episode of the Business and Beyond podcast presented by PNC. We're a weekly conversation with achievers in business, sports, entertainment, and beyond. You can download all of our episodes, more than 200, and get Indiana business news 24/7. All you have to do is go to InsideIndianaBusiness.com. I'm Gary Dick. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.